We're just sitting here watching them go back and forth over some girl, over a lady that neither one of them have anymore or had. So it's like, bro, it's not even about rap. It's just like, yo, you tit for tat. You trying to get this going crazy again, but in the midst of it, you're not putting out good music.
What's going on? Welcome back to the Rap Life Review. I am Nadeska, holding it down for Ebro this week. All good, because I have the guys with me. Lowkey is here, and Eddie is here. You can catch us here every week on Apple Music YouTube channel. Check out the Rap Life playlist. Let's start with the new Drake track, Search and Rescue. First impressions on this. Let's start with Eddie.
Okay, so here's my first impression. So Drake's really good at creating a narrative about everything he does, man. Probably the best we have in all of music. So you get the narrative, and before the song even comes out, you know that there's some like Kim Kardashian sample that he took to the point where even his dad had to come out and be like, yeah, there's no shade here. Come on, bro, there's shade here. So when I hear the song, I'm like, all right, maybe this is part of the story. Like, what exactly is Drake trying to tell with Search and Rescue, with this Kim Kardashian sample, and specifically what she's talking about. And she's talking about getting divorced from Kanye. And then I hear it, and no shade to Drake, because we'll have another little topic about Drake later. And I didn't really understand what the purpose of it was. Like, I'm here for shade. The song's kind of mid. I'm gonna keep it a buck. But just the sample and the song, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, I expect better from Drake because he's one of the best to do this.
Well, you know who expects the best from Drake? That would be Lowkey. So definitely curious about your thoughts. Can we separate the sample and the song for a second, or is that not a thing? Just pretend for 1 second that Kim Kardashian sample wasn't in there. I mean, it's paining you. It's that bad, huh?
Why?
Why for the whole song?
Why for the whole song? Why for the messiness? Why for the sample? Why for the lyrics? Why for the narrative? Why? I feel like Jadakiss right now. Why?
Because rap is basically
like,
the
no,
WWE.
No. Stop with that. Stop with that. Rap is supposed to be competitive, fun, energetic, storytelling. That's not, like, he's not doing that. This is like One Life to Live, Young and the Restless, gossipy. Like, bro, whoever that girl is sitting on his lap looked just like Kim. Kanye's kind of in a good place, and now you're gonna rile that nigga up again.
Listen, I love when Drake and Kanye are going back and forth. I find it extremely entertaining.
Over. But
yeah,
done.
now it just
like,
it
it's
seems
not
like
even producing good music. You know, it's not even producing good content. We're just sitting here watching them go back and forth over some girl, over a lady that neither one of them have anymore or had. So it's like, bro, it's not even about rap. It's just like, yo, you tit for tat. You trying to get this nigga going crazy again, but in the midst of it, you're not putting out good music.
My issue I have with it is you guys acted like it was over. Like, it's very, like, if you're going to be aggressive, be aggressive. Don't be like, hey, me and Jay Prince, I was at the concert. I went to the concert with Ebro. Like, we put it behind us. We're all good now. Let's take a picture. But then when it feels like it's long over, we're not even there no more, you kind of drag it back. And
well, I mean, we knew it wasn't really over because on her loss, I mean, Drake took another shot at him. It sounded like he did it because, you know, to make somebody else happy.
Yeah.
But so I never felt like it was necessarily over. I just don't get it.
I don't know when he recorded it, but I remember seeing the viral moment when he was playing, like he was DJing and he was playing the song. And everybody was like, what the fuck is this? Like, is it like AI type shit? But we was like, nah, like he's playing, like he's actually playing the record. And then the full version leaked and he turned it into a single. Now it's #1 on the Apple Music charts, as it should be, because he's a numbers guy. But it's just like, bro, like, is this the same kind of shit we're gonna get? It goes back to my point of like, yo, he's bored. This is what you do when you're bored. This is the type of shit you do when you're bored, bro. So just sit down, leave Kanye alone, focus on that tour, give us another new album in about 2 years, and everything will be back in place.
Fair enough, but it's all good. There's more new music. New Rae Sremmurd album. So it's been about 5 years, right, Eddie, since we've gotten a project from Slim Jimmy and Sway Lee. So this is Shrem for Life. You and Nick caught up with them recently. Let's check out a clip from that.
Future on Activated, bro.
Future went crazy on Activated.
He snapped, bro. And I think he really set the tone for y'all to continue to keep snapping on the song, man. You know,
for sure.
There's a lot of future features out there, bro. But what's it like to get back something like Activated and be like, what?
Man, Future, like, shout out to Pluto, man.
Yeah.
He been showing love since day one.
Yeah.
Like, when we dropped Shrem Life 1, I remember, bro, he had called Mike Will. He had got all the Shrem Life albums. He bought them all up. So it's like, bro, like, day one, he did Ballin' on the other Shrem Life. So it's tradition to have him, you know what I'm saying, part of the Shrem Life movements every time. Like, even Thug, like, you know what I'm saying, Thug was one of our day ones. He always, even back in 2015, he on Shrem Life, you know what I'm saying? We on his, he on our, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, But yeah, Future on Activate, it's lingo talk. You know what I'm saying? So
Crazy.
Nah, Future
it
snap.
was only right. Like
Yeah.
when we locked in with Future, it was like, man, it was a no-brainer on that one. Like, because every day we activated.
He doesn't believe in shirts?
Nah, he had walked in. I was like, hey man, like, yo, what's up with the no shirt? And he's like, yo, I'm getting ready for Coachella. You know, we're performing. And what I will say, and why I'm glad Rae Sremmurd's back, is they brought fun. And hip hop, you said it earlier, what hip hop used to be, and if we're doing it right, it still can be and still is a lot. It's fun. And, you know, cats used to dance and act up and those guys party. So with them gone for so long, it felt like we skewed one direction towards this game, but not a lot, specifically dudes, are having fun in the music. So with them back, you get cats that come in the studio with their shirt off and they're ready for Coachella and jump off stuff. And, you know, they got the whole Shrimp Life, the ear drummer team. Mike Will made it on the beat. So I'm happy they had the dudes back.
Shout out to Mike Will. I was just wondering about him recently. So they were talking about the track Activated with Future. I gave this a couple listens, but I'm curious from your opinions, is there Black Beatles or No Type on this album for you?
I ran through it like once or twice, and it's not one of those, but it still has the vibe of fun, like you said. It still has that. It still has their energy, just on another level. But that Black Beatles and No Type, like, though, you can't recreate those. You know what I mean? That's how good those records were, and I don't want them to recreate those. I want them to start a new bookmark in their career. So, you know, shout out to them, shout out to the album, and hopefully, you know, it continues to climb the charts and they just start re-killing shit like they was doing, 15, 16?
Man, it was everywhere.
See, this is what happens when you take time off.
Yeah.
Right?
Drake is not taking 5 years off. Just drop it.
I didn't mention anybody.
Okay.
I didn't mention anybody.
And they moved to Miami.
You take time off, you come back, shirts off, energy's up, and you're activated.
When the sun comes out, we start hitting these day to parties and brunches. You know, you see Lowkey at the hookah spot. Some of these tracks might go up.
Maybe. You're not wrong.
All right, so one more new song we want to talk about, Kaytranada and Amine teaming up actually to drop a whole project that is coming May 12th. The first single featuring Pharrell is called Forever. Why are you looking at me like that? You love this record.
Yeah,
you love it.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for you.
Tell me your thoughts.
I love it.
It's great,
It's
right?
my guy.
So you've been listening to all weekend.
Been bumping in that Sahara East. Couldn't turn it off.
Kaytranada at the hookah spot.
That's a vibe. You got to try it.
Man, I love this record. It's hard for me to not like anything that Kaytranada drops. He would have to try really, really hard for me to not be interested. I was like telling some people recently when I was at Coachella a few years ago, he was there and he did a set. And my biggest regret, I feel like, musically in the past few years is missing that set. I heard it was incredible. I would still love a chance to see him live. He's one of a kind.
Is he touring anytime soon, or
you want to come with me?
DJ, listen, bro. They always tour.
May I sit beside you and just enjoy the beautifulness?
I don't think Kaytranada is the kind of vibe where you sit, but
okay.
yeah.
Nah.
I'm a little too old to be mosh pitting, so.
Nah, I love Kaytranada, and I'll take any second to remind people, Kaytranada dropped a collab album last year, or was that earlier this year? Last year with IDK. That's fire, and it's crazy because Kaytranada also the first Black person to win a dance Grammy. Like, think about that. A music Black people created, and he was the first person. And that was like 2 years ago. Like, come on, bro. Like, catch up.
All right, so we got all the music out of the way. Time to debate a little bit. So shout out to Jinx and Bootleg Kev. They had Jim Jones on their show recently. Got into a couple of interesting topics. Number one, Drake. So Jim Jones said, am I quoting this right, that Drake is the greatest of all time, or currently, or?
I think that's how he looked at it, the greatest of all time, because he's played everywhere. He's done things that a lot of artists can't and will not do. And for once, I actually kind of agree. Like, the guy is just, okay, hold on. Just hold on. Okay?
Did you just drop your mic, Eddie?
I think, yeah.
What?
I'm not opposed to believing that Drake will not go down as one of, if not the greatest. Right now, my GOAT is Sean Carter, right?
Listen,
my GOAT as of right now.
I agree.
When it's all said and done, I have a strong belief that Drake will be the greatest to ever do it. Now, greatest rapper? No. Greatest
your
artist?
Perception,
maybe.
The perception is that you are a Drake hater. So for you to say that, that's strong.
I can't do that. You're right. I have to stay one-sided.
Nah, I'm telling you, speak the truth.
Okay.
All of that hate just comes from love. He just loves Drake so hard he wants the best for him all the time.
Do you agree, though?
Yeah, I mean, so Jim was basically saying that Drake is one of one artist or two artists who could drop music and people know it all over the world in English, no matter what language they actually speak. So, Eddie, do you agree?
So I always have these conversations, and it's as old as time having these debates about who's like the greatest rapper of all time, or like our Mount Rushmore rappers, and how always, because you got to give, like, how would you assess that? Because it's subjective, and I always look at, like, if you're building a player in Madden or in NBA 2K or something like that. I play a lot of video games, and you have sliders, so you have album sales, impacts, lyrics, like that. That's how I look at it. And you have all these sliders, and you can legit make the argument that Drake fills up all those sliders. And now, in instances when he doesn't, because the bigger knock on Drake's always been he doesn't have a classic album. To some, that's an argument you hear.
Classic rap album, a bona fide rap album.
But then all of a sudden you'd have to add a new slider, and that slider would be for only Drake. And no other rapper can have half great rap album, half great R&B album in the same body of work. He's playing his own game at this point. Like, no one in the history of hip hop has been able to do what Drake has been able to do. So for that alone, and because all the other metrics work too, you could legitimately, because I've said this for years now, that you can make the argument he's the number 2 greatest rapper ever. And since I've been saying that so long, Jim Jones is saying it. Now you could legitimately make the argument that he's number 1. I'm with Low. I think it's Jay-Z. But if a lot of music is, when was your entry point? Me and Low's entry point's a little bit different. If some 27-year-old is going to be like, Drake's the GOAT, who am I to argue against him?
I mean, to your point, so on the micro level, on a day-to-day, we're going to sit here and pick at Drake for songs like Search and Rescue, right? We always have our issues. He's dropping too much. We don't like this, whatever. But if you're looking at it on a macro level, it's hard to disagree with Jim Jones. But this next one, so as Eddie mentioned, there are all the sliders, right? And it seemed like for his comment, Jim Jones was measuring cultural impact more than anything. So the conversation somehow got to Pusha T. I think they were referencing Billboard's 50 greatest rappers list. Pusha's somewhere in the 20s, I believe.
29.
29. I'm a huge Pusha fan. Of course, I would have him on that list. But Jim Jones felt like he didn't belong on that list at all. Pin drops.
Taking a lot of deep breaths in today's episode.
Yeah.
I know you about to cook. You're about to cook. You're going to clear out.
You want to stand up?
First, so
Can we extend the mic or?
I just don't. It's funny. It's funny because he says Drake is the greatest of all time. He was spending time with Drake in Miami, I believe. And then now Pusha catches this random shot, right? When Pusha has clearly proved that he is one of the best lyricist rappers that we've ever seen touch a microphone. Pusha has gone up against a lot of motherfuckers. Pusha has rapped with and better than a lot of motherfuckers. So please tell me in what metric that he does not belong on that list when it's top 50 greatest rappers. He's amongst the greats. How do you get mad about someone who's achieved a career not only just in a group, but 4 to 5 solo albums that have stood the test of time?
Excellent solo albums. And to clarify, Jim Jones did say that Pusha can rap his ass off, which is a fact.
Cool.
Nobody could debate that.
Yeah.
But he still seemed, and again, this is where it's always hard when we have these debates. It's like we don't know how much to measure each metric.
I don't care how my top 50 rappers are dressing. I don't give a shit, bro.
And the reason why you say that is that was one specific thing that...
Like, he was like, oh, don't nobody want to be like Pusha. Don't nobody want to hear him in the club. All right, we know Pusha's not a club artist. We know that. Pusha's not, for the women like Jim and Cam might be. We know that. There's some women that like Pusha that have exquisite taste, unlike Jim. But that's what he does. That's his job.
Jinx's face in response to that was great. The eyebrows went up.
Like, really, like, what? Push?
Yeah, nice.
But also, too, personal story. I was outside during this time, right? So we can act like, okay, maybe Pusha T isn't that cool that people want to dress like him. But Virginia was a thing back then. And I was wearing Michael Vick throwbacks. I had Allen Iverson braids. Cats was wearing Bape. And a huge reason why Cats was wearing Bape was Pharrell, Clips. And matter of fact, I got a picture of me with a Michael Vick jersey with braids and stuff like that. That was very influenced by that whole Virginia thing that was happening around then. So cultural impact, they were part of that. That whole thing that was happening from VA at the time, a huge chunk of that was people banging on their damn lunch tables, rapping along, pretending they were Clips. Let's not act like that didn't happen.
All right, so look, before we go, we need to talk about Cardi's. We're looking forward to whatever she's going to drop this year. Hopefully it's an album. Hopefully it's coming soon because, look, it's been 5 years since Invasion of Privacy. I mean, so Bodak Yellow dropped a few months before that album dropped. Of course, that song went crazy. I think, like, the anticipation for that album was out of control. She did go on to win Best Rap Album at the Grammy Awards. The features on this were crazy. Migos, Chance, SZA, 21, Bad Bunny, J Balvin, YG. So how do you guys feel like this album aged? What was its impact for you?
It aged very, very well. There was a lot of diversity on that project, so we had a lot of shit to pick and choose from. So, like, just the intro alone, it was probably my favorite record. But it had legs. You heard it in the clubs. You heard a lot of records in the club. You heard dominated radio. Just from the shows, from what she was doing, just with everything. That album was the perfect setup for her. I'm not calling it a classic yet, but
why not yet? Because I was just going to say, I feel like at the 5-year mark is when we could start having the conversation about a classic album. Enough time has passed.
Absolutely. We can, like, 2 years later, we know if it's a classic.
2 years?
2 years.
Yeah, like 2 years later, like, you would know.
Reel it in, 5 years.
Like, okay.
5 years is the minimum, bro.
You're the reasonable one here.
Nah. So this SZA album right now, within the year, we don't know we're going to be listening to this in, like, for years to come.
I mean, we know, but we have to be responsible here and let it...
We got to see how it... We're getting off topic. Okay, let's just... let's stay back with Cardi celebrating 5 years.
I think, to me, it was the non-conventional story in which it was. And I would... Shout out to you, because last week you were talking about how you weren't rocking with... This isn't your words verbatim, but you weren't rocking with Tyler at first, initially. And that kind of like what you were saying? And then, I mean,
he still isn't, except for that one album.
Okay, fair enough.
But
why do we have to do this? You could have just easily just said, "Hey."
I'm citing my sources here. Okay, I'm respecting what you, the work you do.
I'll react.
So, anyways, the first time I hear Bodak Yellow, like, obviously you guys are in New York. I'm over here on the West Coast, so Bodak Yellow hadn't made it to us quite yet, and it was a very old school, traditional way in which that song was traveling.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing it, and I'm like, "Yo, the girl from the reality show, like they rocking with that like that," and I'm like, and it's already a Kodak song, and she's blood this and blood that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know about this one. That was me at the time. So it finally hits us, and you see this figure, Cardi B. And I don't watch reality shows, but I know she's the girl from the reality show. The simple fact that she made that transition where that's still a thing we think about, but the confidence in which she walked around was telling everybody, I'm going to be a rapper. And then Bodak Yellow hit us. And then judging the album 5 years later, like, Cardi is a celebrity beyond music. She's been in 2 separate Super Bowl commercials. And 5 years later, to see not only what that album was at the time, but the career in which she's built through that, I'm happy for her. Like, Cardi B is one of those people I feel like I know, even though I've never met her in my life. And I love watching that success story.
Yeah, Eddie, I think you summed that up well. At that point when she was just really popping on Instagram and on a reality show. Yeah. She was dropping those mixtapes and working hard. Nobody believed she would end up at this point. Mm-hmm. So to come out the gate with an album like that was incredible. I feel like it just gave a lot of people the confidence
to be themselves.
To break in and just do,
To be themselves, unapologetically, make the music they want to make or make the movies they want to make. Anything that you want to do true to your form, look at Cardi B, and that's the blueprint.
Thank you for joining us here on the Rap Life Review. I am Nadeska. That is Lowkey, biggest Kaytranada fan you've ever met. That is Eddie. Subscribe, drop us a comment, we'll hit you back. And also check out Rap Life Radios with Ebro. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that episode of the Rap Life Review. I'm Nadeska, and you can catch me here every single week with Lowkey and Ebro. Make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing, give us a like, and drop a comment so we can hit you back next week.